Hi guys, in this video I'll be working on this text animation using geometry nodes in Blender. I'm using Blender 5.0 version and the background also I've created myself, but the focus in this video will be on this text animation where every character is scaling up and appearing one by one. So let's get started from scratch. Let's go to geometry nodes and create a new graph. We can delete this group input. And over here I can rename it to text 1. So let's search for string to curves. This particular node will be used to provide the text input to the rest of the graph. And here we can see quite a many parameters. For example, you can change the font size, you can change the spacing between the characters or the words as well as between the lines. And over here I will enter my input text, that is text animation, and then connect it to the group output. So you can see that in the viewport we can see some text. Let's stretch it a bit. We will add a few more nodes between these two input and output nodes. Let's add a node rotate instances. And I'll change the X rotation to 90. So now we can see that our text is upright. This is not mandatory, but I have done this because I want to view text from this angle. Let's add another node, that is translate instances. And we can use this node to move the entire text string in any direction. Over here I have moved the text 9 meter in the positive z direction. And since our text string is a curve, we can convert it into a mesh by using fill curve node. As you can see, the topology of the text string is quite complex, and we can simplify it by selecting n-gons instead of triangles in the fill curve node. Now I will add this set material node to add a material for this text string. Here from the side panel you can select the color, change the roughness and other parameters, and also don't forget to select the material in the set material node. Now I will add an empty, and I will use this empty as a control to animate the text. Let's add the position node. This node will provide the positions of the text instances. And I'll also drag the empty over here, and this will appear as an object info node in our graph. Next, I will bring in two separate XYZ nodes and connect it with the position of the text as well as with the location of the empty. and then I'll take a difference of the distance of the x-axis. So the idea over here is to find the distance between the current position of the empty and each and every text instance. A text instance is nothing but the character in this text strings. Okay. Now let me connect this output of subtract node to translate instances. As you can see, the characters of this text string have shifted towards the positive z direction and positive y direction as well. But for our text animation, we only want the characters or instances to move in z direction or z axis. So over here you can see that we already have an offset of 9 meter for z axis. So we'll have to keep that in mind. And for that we will use combine xyz node. So what it will do, it will take in the output of the subtract node, that is the distance difference in x-axis, and the input will be given to the z input of combine xyz node, and the output will be transferred to the translate instances node. Over here you can see that our text has moved up in the z direction only, but it has come down, right, to the back to the origin. That's not what we want. We want to have the offset of 9 meter in z axis. So for that we can use add node. The second parameter I'll keep it as 9, and the first input I'll take the output of the subtract node. And now the output of this add node will be connected to the z input of combine xyz. And now I can connect the output to the translate instances node. So here you can see the starting position of the text is 9 meter above the origin in z direction. And when I'm moving my cursor in x direction or along the x axis, the text is moving along the z axis. And this is the first step of our text animation. We have to translate the movement in x axis of the empty to the movement of the text in z axis. However, right now the entire text string is moving together, but what we want the characters to move separately with respect to the distance from the empty. And for that we can use a node called map range. It basically defines the range of effect for the object that you are using as control. So over here we are using empty as control, so we can define the range of effect for this empty using the map range node. So you can see whenever I'm moving my empty, only the text that is nearer to empty, they are getting affected. And you can play with these parameters from max, from min to max to adjust the range of effect. So here you can see I'm trying to adjust the numbers in these parameters, and the text is moving accordingly. I think this looks good, the movement of text along the z-axis, but we also want the text or the text characters to appear out of nothing. And for that we can use scaling node. So initially we can scale the text instances to 0, and as the empty comes near the characters they'll start appearing. So this is the scale instances node, and here we have two inputs, scale and center. We'll be using the scale input. So as you can see, if you change the values of these parameters, the size of the text also changes. So now to be able to change the scaling of the text characters, we'll have to copy this map range node, and again pass the output of subtract node to the new map range node, and the output of the map range node to the scaling instances node. So over here again we can adjust the parameter values. So the idea is to increase the size of the characters if it is near the empty. Okay, so now you can see the text characters are appearing the way we wanted it to. And for our final animation we can animate this empty, and text will automatically get animated. Alright, now for second row of text we'll simply copy this text and drag it down along the z-axis, and duplicate the geometry nodes graph. Alright, so this graph is for the second row of text. I'll also add another empty object, and this will be the control for the second row. Over here in the input node we can change the text. Let's call it made with Blender. And rest of the nodes will remain the same. In the object info you can select the second empty or the new empty object. And let me check the animation. It's working fine, I guess. Alright, so now we can animate both these empty objects for final rendering. So I'll keep a keyframe at the first frame for the first empty object, and at the 19th frame I'll keep the second keyframe. For the second empty object at the 91st frame I'll keep a keyframe, and at the 180th frame I'll keep the second keyframe for the second empty object. Now let's play the entire animation. Alright, so it looks good. And now I think we can add the background or background elements and make it look nicer and more attractive. So this is how you can animate text in this manner using geometry nodes. And I've also given the link to the blend file in the description section. You can easily download this file and run this entire thing at your own end.